the shortlist for the would-be replacements of Erik ten Hag, if at all he's sacked, it's really widening. And guess what? Someone that is going to shock me has going to be added to this list, and that is Gareth Southgate, the manager of the England national team, whose contract was really extended after the World Cup. Welcome to the United Matters channel. We are having Mark Odgen, senior writer from the ESPN, coming in through and really letting us know what he thinks about the latest development at the side of Man United in as far as searching for the next manager is really concerned. Then Rob Dawson, a United correspondent for the ESPN, is into the mix, and very many other stories that are linking us to Erik ten Hag and why Gareth Southgate is being assessed by the club of money to be one of those managers to really replace Erik ten Hag. Let's see close to 300 likes. Smash on this video. This is Rock and David, and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are. We are here to obviously present you the latest about Man United, and hope you guys are really going to enjoy it. And here we come in peace to really thank God for the gift of life. And for the Muslims, Barakallahu Fikum, it's just days away from the commence of your it's called what? It's called the holy month of Ramadan. Not so? So today is really one of those days that you'll ever want to obviously see the world really move to your side and really call upon for the blessings from the Lord and Allah. Not so? So Rock and David is my name, and already are my initials, but continue to go ahead and obviously subscribe to this channel and see to it that we hit 17,000 subscribers very, very soon. When I look at who was gonna hit to subscribe onto this YouTube channel, I think we are not far off from hitting that milestone, and this is where we are right now. I think we are left with 150 subscribers to hit 17,000 subscribers. So guys, let's continue subscribing and let's continue to show love to one another as this really continues to obviously take us to the levels where we deserve to be. Now let's start it off with Rob Dawson. He was the first one to obviously coming through and really tell us something about the future of Erik ten Hag. And it looks like Sir Jim Ratcliffe's team are still finalizing the details of the new structure of Man United, which will determine what profile of manager they want to take charge of first team affairs. Man United have taken on board information about what different coaches have planned for the future and what other interest there is in acquiring their services, but there have been no formal discussions with any candidates. Now, this is coming in through from a United correspondent. This is Rob Dawson corresponding for Man United at ESPN, and he is really close to the source of Man United, and he's giving us the reasons as to why Erik ten Hag is still the manager of Man United. And this goes out to really cancel everything that Gary Neville said towards the game of Man City, that if United loses to Man City and Liverpool, they'll find themselves in a position of really sacking Erik ten Hag. That maybe a huge decision will be made. So no decision is going to be made by the Glazers and Sir Jim Ratcliffe until I think the end of the season. And this is what we should accept, because you sack Erik ten Hag right now, who do you get in? You get in an interim. That is really bad, and it will be very unprofessional for these people that are going to come in through and really do the job. So they are just assessing and really trying to do the needful. And for everyone who knows what a competent club is, the moment they appoint you as a new manager, that club starts to look for your possible replacements, because they know that any time you might really lose your job. And you remember that shortlist after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked had Zinedine Zidane, Luis Enrique, there was Erik ten Hag, there was had Conte left Spurs? I think Conte was at Spurs. I think we delayed, and then Conte decided to go to Spurs. Then there came in Pochettino was onto the list. Who else was onto that list? So that list was compiled by Man United. The moment they brought in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they knew to it that at a point X they were going to sack him. So even when ten Hag was really appointed, Man United had been looking at those managers that can come in through and really replace Erik ten Hag. And Rob Dawson went ahead to obviously add the following: that Man United have approached have been approached by representatives of several managers, believing that Erik ten Hag could be removed from his post before the start of the next season. Ten Hag has been given no formal guarantee that he will be in charge of Man United next season. That has prompted approaches from out-of-work managers and others who are currently in jobs to find out whether there will be a vacancy. So, I understand why why Sir Jim Ratcliffe has not gone ahead to obviously gate Erik ten Hag what we call the guarantee, because you get him a guarantee maybe underperform, so you just have to keep him into that doubtful space of onto whether the club of Man United will really gate him a job or not. So I think that will be really great for the club of Man United to keep a manager in that, but no guarantee has been given to him, and people or representatives of other managers have gone here to approach Man United, the CEO, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, David Bressfold, and very many others, onto whether they are in need of services of a manager. So, as it stands right now, Ten Hag is still the manager of Man United, and no manager is going to have to be interviewed by the club of Man United to really see to it that they obviously get him in. But the list continues to surge and surge and surge and surge, and all these journalists are coming in from ESPN, and now this is the senior writer at ESPN, and that is Mark Odigan. He has said Roberto Di Zerbi, Thomas Frank, and Gareth Southgate are being assessed as potential suitors to Erik ten Hag at Man United should the Dutch leave his post as manager at Old Trafford this summer. Now, when you look at that list, it's really funny. It's really funny because I think I'll do a De Zerbi story. De Zerbi, I'm not going to talk about him. But for Thomas Frank, there is no way you tell me that Thomas Frank should come into Man United, as who, yet even in the Premier League, is not doing great. You know? You can't tell me that you are sacking Erik ten Hag, who is going to have to have the best winning ratio for all the managers in their first 100 games in the Premier League, and you get in amateurs. For Gareth Southgate, he failed as a club manager. He failed as a club manager, and even if you look at England would have gone ahead to obviously win the trophy of the World Cup or the Euros if they had a better manager, because the structures they said to really improve onto how they manage their players has gone ahead to produce very many quality players, and their players are really competing at the world level. Look at players like Jude Bellingham, Mason Greenwood, Bukayo Saka, Mason Mount. When you look at players like Harry Kane, you know, they're really good quality players. Phil Foden, you know, just to mention but a few. These players are really modern players, and they're really loved by these clubs. And you can now see that their talent has started to obviously be played everywhere. The Tomoris in the Italian Serie A are really doing wonders, and everyone is appreciating English talent. So the quality is really great. And when you look at the squad of England, it can easily be in the same ilk with the squad of France, you know, Brazil, Spain, Portugal, Belgium. But they're really having a very bad manager, and I don't think that is the right manager for the club of Man United. And I've gotten to know the reason as to why they think that United will be interested in the services of this guy. Mark Odigan has said the following, that sources have said that Southgate would be an outsider should Man United seek a new manager, with the 53-year-old still undecided about his post for the Euros 2024 future with England, and having no involvement in the club game since being fired by Middlesbrough in 2009. Southgate has a long-standing relationship with Dan Ashworth, having worked closely with him at the FA during Ashworth's 6-year stint as the FA's director for elite development. He has also previously worked closely with Bressfold in the past. Now, this is why he's being really linked to Man United, that he worked with David Bressfold, you know, and the incoming football director for the club of Man, that is Dan Ashworth. They've gone ahead to work together at the England national team, and he's the one who really told him that, please, let's phase out these old players. In the World Cup of 2018, let's go with young players. That is it. He called in for the young players to go with him, and that really went ahead to work out well for the for the country of England. They played to the semi-finals of the World Cup, something that had not gone ahead to do after a long while. So This is why he's being linked to Man United, but not his capability. And when I look at all these managers, like Gareth Southgate being linked to Man United, I just laugh. I just laugh it off because this is a joke. This is a joke. You can't take away Erik ten Hag, a manager who is really proven, you know. He really went ahead and really did things at Ajax with a very, very low budget. And you think that a manager who really has one of the best countries, national squads in the world, and cannot really make it win a trophy, do the needful, you know. So Erik ten Hag is a very good manager, and I think he still has a lot to offer to the club of Man United. But Gareth Southgate, I don't really fancy him. He is really one of those managers that I think will never make the list. They will never make the list of Man United because he doesn't have all what it takes to be the manager of Man United. If you cannot manage Middlesbrough, you cannot come out and really manage Man United. And he cannot handle the pressure because for the national team, they've been resting ever since they played in November, December, January, February, March, almost 4 months. He has been dormant, doing nothing, you know, apart from going to the stadiums and watch these players. What else has he been doing? Nothing. So he's okay with where he is. I know his future is really uncertain at England, and the only way he's going to see his contract renewed at England is when he wins the Euros. If he doesn't win the Euros, he's going to be sacked. That is it. He's going to be sacked, and England will be looking in for another manager that is really good, that can really get the job going and really give them the best that they deserve as a side of England. So for me, I don't really agree with all these links. That is it. I know why they're really linking all these people to Man United. These managers have once worked with Dan Ashworth, that is it, or Dave Bresford, you know, in England. That is it. That's why they are linking these managers to Man United. But I think if Ten Hag is to be sacked, I would love to go in for high-profile manager. That is it. Because you need to come with a bang. What does it make sense to really sack Erik ten Hag to get in a manager who is below him? Because it's like we're rebuilding, you know. Ten Hag is rebuilding, and you're bringing another young manager to obviously test the waters. That is really no sense for me. It is insanical to do that. All what you have to do is simple. Get in a manager who is a finished article that can come in through and really impact play immediately, and he is really good at really managing pressure. But out of those managers, I think it's only Zinedine Zidane who doesn't have a job. That is it. And Zinedine Zidane has rejected an offer to come to Man United several times, you know. Before Ten Hag was here, United wanted Zidane to come in here, and Zidane said, no, I'm not coming that side. PSG wanted Zidane, he turned the job down, you know. Teams like Liverpool are looking at Zinedine Zidane, but he's not really going to give them a go to do the needful at the club of Liverpool. So I don't see any competent manager that who doesn't really have a job. If you tell me Luis Enrique, I think he might really be sinking into the project of PSG, and there is no way he'll really surrender him to come into Man United, you know. So it's really hard for managers like Gareth Southgate to come in through, and there is no sounding reason as to why Erik ten Hag should be sacked, you know. I really appreciate and I understand Team Ten Hag out, but he's not gonna go out. Now, Mark Odegaard went ahead and added that despite Man United's disappointing season so far, sources have said that the club are aware that Ten Hag's reputation remains high in Europe, and there is interest in the Dutchman from Germany, where Bayern Leverkusen and VfB Stuttgart could join Bayern Munich in having an attractive managerial vacancy at the end of the season if highly rated coaches Xabi Alonso and Sebastian Hoeneß are tempted by new jobs elsewhere. So Erik ten Hag cannot really not have a job. His winning percentage is really rich, and everyone knows that he's not working well at the club of Man United because of the players that he wants to have that are not there, and the structure that is just going to have to be really improved by the INEOS. So Ten Hag is really a very huge asset, and it shows you how huge it is. When we are telling people that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not supposed to be the manager of Man United, people came out and said, no, you just have an agenda over this guy. Now, ever since he left Man United in 2021, was it 2021, right? November, he hasn't even gone ahead to get a job. That is it. No job for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It shows you how a bad manager he is. But for Erik ten Hag, sack him today, next month or next season, he will be having a job at a high-profile club. Barcelona will go for the Erik ten Hag, I tell you this. Bayern Munich will go for Erik ten Hag, and Bayern Leverkusen, I think ten Hag won't even want to go. I think he can only do Dortmund. He can do Napoli, right? He can do Bayern Munich. He can do Barcelona, and he can do Dortmund. You get? He can do those jobs. But for the side of Liverpool, they will like him, but he cannot go there because of the rivalry that is in between Man United and Liverpool. But if at all he's sacked, you never know. He might really say, why not go and really do the job at the side of Liverpool? So that is it. And the hugest factor as to why Ten Hag is still a strong contender to really retain his job at Manchester United is this. And amongst all articles that Odegaard has gone ahead to say about this story, this is the best for me. Odegaard concluded and said, sources have said that Ten Hag could yet banish the uncertainty surrounding his position by inspiring the team to a successful end to the season, and that is his readiness to back youngsters such as Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho, and Rasmus Hojlund has highlighted his ability to capitalize on Man United's tradition of youth development. That is it. And one of the things that they're going to have to forget is Sir Alex Ferguson. He will stick to this guy because he loves him a lot and he thinks he deserves a chance. And I know that board will give Ten Hag another chance. The youngsters, I'm fed up of getting in managers, getting in youngsters, and new managers coming through with a different plan altogether, and they really fail these youngsters. Ten Hag is going to have to show us that he has now got a group of like 10 youngsters that can come into the starting 11. Kambwala, Kobbie Mainoo, Dango, Rasmus Hojlund, Alejandro Garnacho, Amadi Diallo, Foson Omari, you understand? Which other youngster? Hannibal, Facundo Pelestri. We are really having a good group of youngsters that Ten Hag is going to have to see a lot in them, and he's really trying to really get the best out of them. So if at all you bring in a new manager, all that is going to be really destroyed. It will be dismantled to the ground floor, and this manager will build again. And how many times are we going to build? Are we going to build again? I know the result of uncertainties about the future, but Ten Hag told us that he speaks with the board and he knows exactly what they want. So your thoughts on Southgate to Man United? Assessment made to replace Erik ten Hag. What do you make about it? Would you really like him to replace Erik ten Hag? Your thoughts are welcome in the comment section below. And what do you think about Erik ten Hag being a hot cake, even though Man United sacks him, and Ten Hag's huge backup, as a manager of Man United? He really has a lot in his tank that can take him to the next level. Rokan David is my name, guys. I sign out. See you later. Good morning and good night to those going to bed. But it has been nice talking to you. 19 minutes of talking here onto the United Matters channel, and I hope you guys have gone ahead to really benefit a lot. Gareth Southgate to Man United is the story headline. What do you make about it? We cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. The Muslims, Barakallahu Fikum. Ciao, ciao.